this past weekend, I was in Oaks, PA for my fourth Too Many Games. So my first one was 3 years ago when Scott the Woz was there, and now I was here for the fourth time for the fourth straight year. So that's very exciting to me. And to say that I got Too Many Games would be actually kind of accurate. Before we get into all the games that I got, just want to talk a little bit about the weekend. And I don't know why, but this was the most excited I have ever been for Too Many Games, at least since the first one when Scott the Woz was there. I don't know if it's because I had a lot of friends going. I don't know if it's because I was going with a good group of people, or I was just excited to be there. I don't know why. It was the least amount of things that I did like at the convention this year, but just being there was so much fun, and it was really fantastic. So let me label and not label. Let me list all the people that I had the pleasure of seeing down there. So let's rapid fire this. Mike, Jay, Jack, Jason, Joey, JP, Jacob, Connor, Charles, and Katie. We're all down there on different days, and I got to hang out with all of my friends down there. That was absolutely fantastic, including Chris, that we'll talk about in a little bit. Ant was also there. We talked for a little bit. If you're watching this, hi Ant. But I also saw a Pat the NES Punk panel, the Charles Martinet panel, the voice of Mario. That was really exciting. He was fantastic. Pat the NES Punk I've seen so many times now, and he's really cool. So it was cool to see those. But I also did some excursions while I was down there. I went to a Waffle House. So if you click the thumbnail, you know where I went. And I've never been to a Waffle House before, but I was like itching to go. These really bad places you're not supposed to eat, but I've never done it. Finally did it. 6 out of 10, I guess. 7 out of 10. I don't know. I'm glad I went. The Friday night, I went to see Trevor Wallace, who is a comedian. I love his stuff on YouTube. He's really, really funny in person. So that was really cool. And then Saturday night, we went to Buffalo Wild Wings, and Sunday night, we went to Chili's. So definitely a lot of different things past just being at the con. And it sounds like it. I did very little at the con, only 2 panels, lots of walking around, lots of spending time with friends. So probably all those things put together is what made it a really, really great weekend. Before I get into the stuff I actually did buy, I just want to talk about 3 things that unlimited money I totally would have bought because they were super duper cool. So one seller at the front of the convention had a Neo Geo Pocket Color, which, if you're not familiar, was basically SNK's handheld system to compete with the Game Boy and the Game Gear at the time. I don't know exactly when it was released, but they had a brand new retail box of a Neo Geo Pocket Color that was bundled with 4 different games, I think it was. And then he also had 2 more of those retail packaging with more games underneath it. I asked how much it was. He said 1,000. I was never going to get, of all the things I wanted to buy, that was not at the top of my list. But really, really cool. If I had more appreciation for the Neo Geo Pocket Color, I would have jumped on it. But at 1,000, I gotta watch out, right? The other really cool game that I saw, which was at 2,000, was a Atari 2600 ET cartridge that was graded and certified to be from Alamogordo, New Mexico. So if you're not familiar with that, basically, video game crashed in the early 80s. Atari put all of these cartridges, all of these games in a landfill in New Mexico, and a couple years ago, pre-pandemic, maybe just pre-pandemic or just post-pandemic, whatever it was, there was a documentary where they went to where that landfill was and dug up cartridges, and it's there. So it was really cool. I asked how much it was, and 2,000. I was like, it's cool, but I don't have that kind of money to spend on a single cartridge. But still really, really cool. Still something I definitely would have wanted. And the last thing was definitely the thing that if I was going to buy any one of these 3 things, it was going to be that. So there was a seller all the way in the back who had a original Diamond and Pearl, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl demo cartridge. So, of course, Diamond and Pearl were never released on the same cartridge back in the day, but it literally had Diamond, Pearl on the same cartridge, and I'm guessing it was a Target or a GameStop demo cart that kids could either pick which one they wanted to. I don't know exactly, but maybe it was just the same demo, but they put both on it just to, not say it was just Diamond or just Pearl. But whatever it was, that was also a little over $1,000. So, if I had $4,200, I would have bought these 3 things, but we don't have $4,200 to spend on single items. But still really cool, still stuff I wanted to mention because they were really, really neat. neat enough that I wanted to talk about them. So that's saying a lot. Anyway, let's get into things I actually bought. And the first thing, not a game at all, but it's the Yu-Gi-Oh shirt I'm wearing. I have no idea if you could see this. I don't own a Yu-Gi-Oh shirt, but I was huge into Yu-Gi-Oh, and somehow I never had a Yu-Gi-Oh shirt growing up. I had a Yu-Gi-Oh blanket growing up. It's still somewhere in this house. But yeah, pretty cool. That was cool. I'm glad I got this shirt. I used to buy more shirts in the past, but they've been collecting dust in my closet as I need to dress like an adult for my job. So cool nonetheless, but yeah, I'm glad I at least got one shirt. So we're going to get into all the games stuff that I got now. And basically everything I bought was from Chris at Rewind Arcade. So Rewind Arcade is an awesome channel. You should all go check it out. But over the past 2 years, he's been at TooManyGames. We've gotten to know each other. We talk almost weekly at this point. So he's a really, really good guy. If you have any way you can support him, please do so, because he's an absolutely fantastic human being. And to say that he was like my convention older brother would be an understatement. If I ever needed anything, I know I could go to him. So, Chris, thank you so much. Thank you so much for working out a deal with me. For all these games I'm about to show, we're going to need to be a little rapid fire, but still really cool. The very last thing I'm going to show is not from Chris, but that's not to say that he did not give me the best thing, because I'm absolutely hyped for all these. I finally got through testing and cleaning all of them, so that's really exciting. But let's dive right into it. Rewind Arcade and Chris specializes in import games, so of the 31 things I'm going to show in this video, 30 of them are Japanese, but that's okay. Let's dive right into it. The first one is a game that we've kind of talked about before on the channel, and that is Arkanoid. So this is Arkanoid 2. So a couple episodes ago, it might have been like June in review, or maybe it was May in review, I don't remember, but I got Arkanoid 1 complete in box with the controller. And if you're not familiar with Arkanoid, you are familiar with like Brick Breaker, where you're moving a little platform to the left and right, keeping a ball up in the air, breaking bricks, or Brick Breaker, right, or whatever you want to call it. And basically, I got Arkanoid 1 complete in box with its very specific controller, and Chris had Arkanoid 2 with its very specific controller. The problem I ran to with Arkanoid 1 is that the port for the controller is different from the Famicom to the NES. So this is on Famicom, and I wasn't able to test the controller. I don't doubt for a second that it works. I just don't have a Famicom ready to go, ready to test games on the Famicom. I have a Famicom to NES converter, so I was able to test the game, not the controller. But yeah, this is really, really cool. And now I'm glad I have both Arkanoid 1 and 2. This came to America as Arkanoid Revenge of Doe, but it was released only a year after Arkanoid 1, but I'm pretty sure this was only in arcades here in North America. I'm pretty sure. And the only other difference I would note is that Chris says it's a lot harder than Arkanoid 1. So really cool to get a cool piece of Famicom hardware with the controller. Super cool box, and yeah, awesome. We move on to the peripheral for the Famicom, and that is the Famicom Disk System. So the Famicom Disk System is, as it sounds, was an add-on to the Famicom, where instead of reading cartridges like Arkanoid was, or every other game you've ever thought about, it instead read these like floppy disk, or these I'm pretty sure they're proprietary floppy disks. And a lot of games, a lot of series got their starts on the Famicom Disk System, and including this very first one that we'll talk about. This is Akumajo Dracula, or better known as Castlevania. So the very beginning to the Castlevania series is this guy right here. So a lot of games started on Famicom Disk System, but they would come to North America in cartridge form, basically this way of like getting better cartridges, better hardware to put games on. So in America, we got an actual cartridge, and Japan started with the Famicom Disk System version, this floppy disk version. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about that, aside that it is literally the beginning of Castlevania. So this released in 1986. We got the NES cart in 1987, but it's also pretty interesting, and Chris and I had a conversation about this, that it would end up going back to Japan in cartridge form on a regular Famicom cartridge and not a floppy disk in 1993. So 6 years after the North American cartridge release. I'm pretty sure Super Famicom was way out by now, but yeah, then they put it back in cartridge, and that is expensive as heck. So very cool to get the very beginning of Castlevania. I'm not a huge Castlevania person. I'm not really good at those games, but I have friends that love Castlevania. Chris loves Castlevania. And yeah, I'm super happy to get this. So this is super neat. One more Famicom Disk System game. This one is a little funnier. This is Exciting Basket. So Exciting Basket was originally Double Dribble on arcades in both North America and Japan, but then this was released in Japan as Exciting Basket. So I guess Double Dribble wasn't a good enough name. Exciting Basket was better, and then it came back to NES as Double Dribble in 1987. And the only thing that I was able to see in my very, very brief research for all these games, right, we had a lot of stuff to talk about, we had to go fast, is that this was like a pretty detailed, pretty good version of basketball at the time. So, you know, in 1987, video games were still, as we know them now, video games were kind of in their infancy. So to get a good basketball game in 1987 says a lot, even though there weren't a whole lot of competitors at the time. So 2 more Famicom Disk System games to the collection. I have a Famicom Disk System, but it's not working. I gotta get it fixed. So super cool to add those too. Next up is a Super Famicom accessory, we'll put it, and this is the Super Shooting Watch by Hudson. So Hudson, this the little bumblebee guy. You know plenty of their games, whether or not you know it, but this is an accessory that Chris tells me is literally a way to test your button inputs. So if you want to know how good you are at button mashing, this would kind of be the little tool for you to do that. It's really funny. It's really neat. It's adorable. And yeah, that's really all I need to say about it. It's super duper cool. So it's super neat. Cool to get this little guy. Moving forward, we have a ton of Sega Saturn games. So I don't even own a Sega Saturn, but if you saw the videos from a couple months ago at this point, I think it was in May. In May, I took the time to talk about a lot of different Sega systems. I didn't grow up with Sega, but it's really cool to get games for those systems because a lot of them are really famous. A lot of them never came to North America, very obscure. So when I say we have a lot of Saturn games, I think we have like 10 Saturn games to go through. So let's try and do this as fast as possible. We have Devil Summoner Soul Hackers, which is the second game in the Devil Summoner series, which is itself a spin-off of the Megami Tensei franchise. So if you know Shin Megami Tensei, you probably know Devil Summoner. You probably know, I'm pretty sure Persona is in there too. But yeah, kind of neat. This initially didn't come to North America, but it did have a remake on 3DS that did. I don't remember the year that came out. But there was also a Soul Hackers 2 that also came to North America. That was in 2022 on all major systems at the time. And yeah, so if you know anything about Devil Summoner, you can definitely tell me more about it. But I'm pretty sure a game in the series is being like remastered or remade for Switch. I think that's Raido Remastered. We saw it in a direct not that long ago. I don't know if it was like the Switch 2 direct or the direct right before the Switch 2, but yeah, apparently I knew about Devil Summoner before I bought this game. So cool to add this. It's got a cool little slipcover. That's super neat. Very cool. Next up is a GameWare Volume 3. So this is a minigame collection with, I think, 4 different minigames. There's a Spot the Difference type of game. There's a point-and-click adventure, which cannot be that big if it's on a minigame collection. There's a puzzle game and a Breakout clone. So Breakout, Arkanoid, that's our second time seeing Brick Breaker type games. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It also has some interviews, some previews, some game art. So I want to say this is like Jam Pack before Jam Pack. I believe there's 5 of these GameWare volumes, so pretty cool, pretty neat. Just kind of a funny little thing to add to the collection, and now we're gonna have to look for the other ones. Next up is Habitat 2, and this was impossible to find info because I didn't really know what I was looking for initially. So this is apparently a launcher for the game Fujitsu Worlds Away. I think the game is called Worlds Away and it's by Fujitsu, I'm pretty sure. But Worlds Away is like a virtual world type of game. And according to Sega Retro, it was very reliant, not very reliant, it is reliant on the Sega Saturn modem, which doesn't work anymore. So if you wanted to use this, you couldn't. But I kept looking everywhere for Habitat 2 and I'm like, why can't I find anything about it? And then I learned because it's just a launching disc for Worlds Away. So I don't know why it just wouldn't be called Worlds Away for Saturn, but I don't know. It's kind of cool, kind of funny. I love learning like random little history like this. You know, I buy these games because they look cool, and then I learn that it's like, oh yeah, it was just a launching disc. I don't know. Still very, very fascinating to me. Next up is a game that had next to no info, so this will probably be the fastest game we talk about. This is Jiku Tante DD, Dracula Detective Maboroshi no Lorelei, and this is a 3D vampire detective adventure set in the future with full voice acting. I think I found one single link. I think it was the PlayStation database version for this game, or the PlayStation version was on the PlayStation database for this, and that was literally the only link I could find about it. So cool. We had Castlevania, now we have Dracula. I guess we like our vampires. This next one is pretty interesting. This is Chisato Moritaka Lala Sunshine, and herself, Chisato Moritaka, is a Japanese pop singer whose career began in 1987, but she's still active today. She took I think a 13-year hiatus that I think I read somewhere in the middle, but she came back. She's still active. It's really cool. And there's apparently another Chisato Moritaka release on PC. So this release has that disc, which had material, according to Sega Retro, from 1993 to 1995. So that might be like music videos, songs, interviews. And then there's another disc exclusive to this release with content from 1996 to 1997. I'm pretty sure released in 1997. And the subtitle La La Sunshine was a single she released in 1996. So that's where the title comes from. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of funny. It's like more like a multimedia disc rather than a game, which I did not know the Sega Saturn had that kind of thing, but I am learning. What's next? Next up is 2 games in the same series that we've talked about. We've talked about both games at different times, I am pretty sure, so I'm just going to go through them at the same time. This is Puyo Puyo Sun and Puyo Puyo 2, or just, Puyo Puyo 2. And we've talked about Puyo Puyo games a ton. They are falling block puzzle games. They're like Tetris, so like today we have Puyo Puyo Tetris. Some people are way bigger fans of Puyo Puyo than like regular Tetris, so that's kind of interesting. But we talked about Puyo Puyo Sun, the N64 version, almost like 2 years ago. That's how long this series has been going on. And Puyo Puyo 2, if we didn't talk about it in one of those May videos, we've talked about it somewhere else. So to add 2 more Puyo Puyo games to the collection, really, really neat, really, really funny. I'm not even good at Puyo Puyo, but like they're iconic to Japanese gaming, so to speak. Next up is another pair of games from the same series, and I know for certain we talked about these games, if not these specific releases, but we talked about Sakura Wars during one of the Saturn videos, I'm pretty sure. So we got 2 more Saturn games in Sakura Wars. This is Sakura Taisen 2 and Sakura Taisen Joki Radio Show, or Steam Radio Show, as it says on the actual box. And like I said, we talked about this series. Sakura Wars is basically this multi-genre game series where like every game has different genres within itself. So you might find like dating sim and visual novel, but you also might find like action gameplay. They're all set in like war-embroiled Japan, probably about 100 years ago from now, and you play as the leader of an all-female battalion. And I'm pretty sure I remember that correctly. But it's really interesting because Sakura Wars has all sorts of really weird releases, and not weird releases in terms of like the games themselves are weird. It's just kind of like, this is the second game in the series, but this also technically is like a limited edition because it has this slipcover, and I think it just has bonus content. But like, I don't know, the first game I'm pretty sure also had a ton of different limited edition releases released over like a couple different years. So like that's kind of odd to get limited edition versions for a game that was like just coming out for the first time. This one at least made sense. It had one limited edition, so that's kind of interesting. Was this really a thing back in the 90s? I'm not sure. But then even weirder is this like Steam Radio Show thing, because not only did they release a lot of bonus material like in their limited editions, they also went out of their way to release a lot of bonus content on their own individual discs. So like this is also like a really big release. So like this is a normal sized Saturn game versus the Steam Radio Show one. So like there's a lot packed into here, and I'm pretty sure this one was like a physical newsletter. I think I read correctly. It had some mini games. It had some stuff about the games. So I love this. I think it's really, really cool. We don't get this at all now, and I don't know if other series ever really did this specific kind of thing where it was like physical discs for bonus material, but like separately released, and there's a lot of them. Like when we talked about the Saturn, when we talked about Sakura Wars during the Saturn videos, like I had another one of these. I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what exactly was in it, but the fact that there are multiple of these and a lot of them is really, really cool. So definitely very interesting, definitely very neat to add 2 more Sakura Wars games. And I think every so often I'm just going to come across like a pair of random Sakura Wars games where one is like a normal main entry and another is some like bonus material disc. But still super duper cool. Next up is the last Saturn game, right? We're making great time, I hope. And this is Virus, which is a 1997 poorly received adventure game. It's by Hudson Soft, and the Wikipedia page basically has no info besides that it was eventually adapted into an anime and that someone gave it 2 out of 5 stars when it released. So like, that's pretty bad. There was a Reddit shot in the dark retrospective that says it's a point and click game with some turn-based and other on-rail action, and it's about a virus that hunts people down. Who would have thought from the name Virus? So that's kind of interesting, kind of weird, but also just strange that this is so obscure, because I feel like this is the type of game that would be super popular. It kind of reminds me of like D and another game from one of the Saturn videos, I think. But like, I don't know, it seems just like it's a very dark sounding name, dark sounding game. I mean, the gameplay on the back looks very like anime inspired, if you will. Maybe not so much like D, but like, I don't know, the first thing I thought about this was like, oh, this is going to be like D, it's going to be super famous, super popular, super dark, and it's none of those things, and apparently it's actually pretty bad. So, yeah, another weird game that I didn't find a lot of info on, but very cool to add it to the collection. Okay, that's it for Saturn. We still got a lot of games to go through. Don't worry, we're going to move to the PS1 for just one single game, and this is Ore no Shikabane o Koete Yuke, or, yeah, let me just explain this one. So this is a 1999 turn-based RPG with actually a pretty cool story, and that says a lot because it is very unique. So there are 2 married warriors who are on the doorstep of attempting to defeat a malicious god. But the god wins. He kills the husband in the married couple. He captures the daughter, who is not this daughter. I think it was just like one of the developers brought in their kids for these pictures, but captures the daughter, and then the wife says, no, take me instead. So he trades, captures the wife, and spares the daughter, but places a curse on the daughter that the daughter will die in 2 years and can't have children with mortals. So that's kind of, sounds a little twisted. I know it doesn't sound great, but let me explain more of the story. So somewhere along the way, this cursed child meets up with like benevolent gods who want to help the child break the curse. So they make her an adult immediately, and they also offer to help her have children, which solves both of those 2 problems of dying in 2 years. Well, she's now an adult, and now she can have kids because she's having kids with gods and couldn't have kids with mortals. I don't know. It sounds twisted. It's very interesting. But basically, the story is that you're playing over several generations of characters in defeating this malicious god. So you might play as the actual child herself, but then you might also play as her children, and then you might play as the children's children over several generations trying to defeat this malicious god. So that's actually really neat, very, very specific, very cool. So I don't really know like all the ins and outs of how that happened plot-wise, but like that's a really unique and interesting plot. And apparently it was inspired by horse racing and baseball video games of the time, so that's kind of funny too. A little twisted, but very fascinating, and very cool piece to add to the collection, in my opinion. Next up, we move to the Game Boy Color, and the first one, we've talked about this game so many times very recently. This is Power Pro Pocket, Power Pro Kun Pocket 2, and we love this series. Power Pro Kun Pocket is a spin-off of the main Power Pro series. We've seen these little guys so many times, but it's a spin-off series that had 14 games across the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and DS, and there's also one remake on Switch that we showed off in some video not that super long ago. So kind of weird. There's a Wikipedia page specifically detailing all the differences between Power Pros and its actual series. Sorry, it's between Power Pros and its spin-off series. So of course it would take us an entire video just to like really go into all that. But yeah, I'm just happy to be adding another Power Pros game to the collection. There are so many. I will never collect every Power Pros game because not only are there so many of them, there's also so many of them across every system. So like there's GameCube and PS2 versions of the same game. Whatever the case, I'm glad to get another game. So Chris, thank you for this one as well. One more Game Boy Color game, and this one is, I don't know. But we can't go a single episode talking about Japanese games without having a game that is based on some manga or some other Japanese franchise, and that is Hoshin Engi, which started as a manga in 1996, revolves around Chinese mythology and history. That would also, be very interesting to dive into, but we only have so much time here together. Had an anime series in 1999 under the title Senkaidan Hoshin Engi in Japan and Soul Hunter in North America. So different from Soul Hackers earlier. If you ever heard of Soul Hunter, the anime, it's probably based on this series. So there were 5 games, I'm pretty sure, in this series. There was 2 on the Wonder Swan, 2 on the PS1, and then it had this single game on Game Boy Color in 2000, Senkai Ibonroku Juntei Taisen, and that's it. This little guy down here looks kind of familiar. I don't know why. If you've seen Soul Hunter before, maybe you recognize him. Maybe you recognize him from something else. But, yeah, I don't know. That's it. I thought it was cool. Moving forward, we move on to the PlayStation 2, a system that I am very fond of, and we'll definitely talk about more in detail in the future. This first game is Naruto Uzumaki Ninden, which is a 2005 3D action adventure in the Naruto universe that took over a year to come to North America as Naruto Uzumaki Chronicles. And there isn't really much to say about the game besides that it's Naruto in the Naruto universe, and the only people that probably care are Naruto fans, which I am not. I remember watching an episode. I remember watching it a little bit on Cartoon Network, but I remember seeing one episode that I thought was really scary, and I never watched Naruto again. Couldn't even explain what happened. I also don't really just watch anime that much, but like, I know Naruto, and you're probably a Naruto fan more than I am. So it probably took a long time to come over because the game is known for having a lot of cut, or at the very least modified content in English, mostly because when this game came out in 2006, I believe the anime was on Toonami Cartoon Network for only about a year. So it's still really new, still not quite as popular as some other anime series that were here in North America. So I think they had to cut out a lot to kind of localize to match what American audiences, or at least kids in America, would have known. So kind of interesting. Got it. Yes, I know it's very interesting. But yeah, it's a game that I am familiar with the series. Cool to add it to the collection. I say that Naruto scared me. I actually did play one Naruto game. I had a PlayStation 3 for a very short time around the time that it released, and Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 2, that was my game. I don't have a PS3 or Xbox 360 to play it on anymore. Tragic. Anyway, we move on. The next game is another series that I can't speak a lot about on, but you probably don't know quite as well as Naruto, and that is Summon Night EX These, Yoake no Tsubasa, and this is from the Summon Night series that I think we've talked about before. If we haven't talked about it before, maybe we're going to talk about it at some point, I don't know. It's an RPG series with visual novel and dating sim elements across several different Nintendo and Sony systems, but very, very, very few of them came to North America. So this game is a 2005 action RPG, which is a deviation from the regular Summon Night formula, making it the first spin-off title in a total of 4 games released in the branding at the time. So like some of the past games in this episode, this whole series probably deserves its own video, but it is cool to add this one. I can't really speak more than that it's just different from other Summon Night games, but very cool. I think the handful of Summon Night games that did come to North America are also like crazy expensive. But yeah, that's all I can think of. Okay, and next up we have Tetris. It's Tetris. Anyway, this is Tetris Kiwami Michi out of the Super Light 2000 puzzle series. So it's just Tetris. Super Light 2000 was a budget series for, I'm pretty sure, just PS2. Had a bunch of different games. I have this one under the puzzle name, but I have another one that also has just different. It's Super Light 2000, but a different subtitle. I don't remember, but it has Tetris. It has different modes of Tetris, mostly with timed formats, but it also has a blocks fall when you clear the area below it type of deal, which is definitely more present in other puzzle games, but still kind of cool that that exists in a Tetris game too. So I don't know. We like Tetris on this channel. Moving on, one more PS2 game, but not the last PS2 thing we'll talk about. This is Tokyo Majin Gakuen Kaihoju Kefuroku. I think I said that right. So Tokyo Majin Gakuen is another Japanese media franchise, but this one started with video games and was published by a bunch of different companies. Wikipedia notes Asmik Ace, Marvelous, Atlas, Arc System Works, all publishers that we've definitely talked about or you've definitely heard of. And the main series of games, including this one, are tactical RPGs with some visual novel elements and definitely rooted in like Japanese mythology and the supernatural and magic. I'm pretty sure Majin in Japanese is magic. And it's odd because there are only 2 games in the main series. The second game, or not second game, but like there's 4 releases in the main series. The second one is kind of just like a bonus content release. And this specific release is an expanded version of the third game, which is the second game. So the first game was just the first game. Second game was a bonus content release. Third game is the unexpanded version of this. And fourth game is this expanded version. So I don't know what you want to call it necessarily. Wikipedia notes them all as different games. I don't know. But your goal in this 2004 expansion is to play as the descendant of the first Tokyo Majin Gakuen game in protecting the throne in 1860s Japan from demons, other plotting organizations. So I would love to learn more about this game. It's pretty neat. The last PS2 thing we'll talk about is something I'm going to avoid talking about a super ton, but this is a Super Robot Wars memory card. So I'm not super familiar with Super Robot Wars. My understanding is that it's a game series that started... it's a franchise that started with video games, but is definitely rooted all around Japanese culture. So I'm pretty sure if it doesn't have its own anime or its own manga, it was based on anime or manga, or it had like a spin-off that had anime or manga. So I don't know. I don't know exactly for sure. I brought it up at work the other day just because I was talking about my trip, and they're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just mech battling. And that's what I know Super Robot Wars as. So they're tactical RPGs where you battle in big robot suits. That is an oversimplification. Somebody correct me. The reason I bought it, though, is I was grappling a little bit with it because I don't really have a whole lot of Super Robot Wars stuff, but we didn't get special edition memory cards like this in North America, I'm pretty sure. At least if we did, it was very, very rare. But this is now the second special edition memory card that I have. The first one was an Ape Escape memory card out of Japan, too. That one's all yellow. That one's got monkeys on it. This one's white. White is already different enough for a memory card. Most of them were just black. And yeah, cool to add this, even though I know nothing about Super Robot Wars. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Okay, we move on. We're getting to the end. I got one little pile here. We're very, very close. So the next one is just one single game on DS, and that is Treasure Report Kikai Jakake no Isan. I think I said that right. And there is next to nothing about this game. I hate talking about games that have like next to nothing, but it is funny to talk about them because there are still so many games out there, even with billions of people on the internet, that can't speak for every game. But it did have an AI overview on Google, which I think is interesting. I learned it's a 2011 puzzle game, and then everything else I got from it was from a pair of random forums talking about it. One forum had 5 comments, none of which said anything of value besides that it's a Professor Layton clone. If you know Professor Layton, apparently it's a Professor Layton clone, and the other forum being Tumblr. I've never been on Tumblr, but now I know because the posting was really weird, and the only thing I really gathered was that people were questioning the inspiration for the art. I don't know, I guess there was a good reason I was never on Tumblr, but yeah, kind of kind of interesting. Surprisingly, another game that has next to no info about it. We moved to PSP. This is Saigo no Yakusoku no Monogatari, which is a 2011 JRPG that has a post on Reddit, on my RPG blog, and on WordPress, all of which mention roughly the same thing, that it's a JRPG. That much is for sure. It's a relatively short game for a JRPG, and it's perhaps overall not that fleshed out, or not fleshed out enough, I should say, and that it's permadeath. So that's kind of interesting. It's permadeath. It has a time limit system. Some people in the comments were like, I'm already out. Permadeath is bad enough, but to put a time limit on it, no thanks. So yeah, that's kind of what I gathered about the game. It kind of seems like all 3 blog posts liked it, or at least enjoyed it for it being a little different. I don't know. But maybe that it could have done better. I don't know if there are more games in this series, but it did have a sequel that I guess is a sequel, but maybe not like under the same title. If anyone has ever heard of Soul Trigger, apparently this is the prequel to that. I don't know. Go nuts. Next up is another PSP game in a series that we've talked about before. We've talked about Dynasty Warriors a couple different times in a couple different ways, and this is Shin Sengoku Musu Multi-Raid, which I think is a little funny because it has a Japanese title and then it has an English title. In one, it's kind of weird. But this is a 2009 hack and slash that came to North America just 2 months after its initial release as Dynasty Warriors Strike Force, which gives that series away. Dynasty Warriors is a sub-series of the overarching Warriors / Romance of the Three Kingdoms franchises, which I'm a little familiar with. I've seen a couple different places, but I believe the Dynasty Warriors series specifically are all hack and slash games, and this is one of the few PSP titles in that series, with most of the Dynasty Warriors games being on home consoles. I think this one was specifically released around the time of Dynasty Warriors 6, so there's that. And I don't know if any of you have ever played these games before, but these are super common in Japan. Like, I find these all the time, and I just randomly keep winning them in auctions, and now I bought another one from my friend. So this is cool. Like I said, the title to me is really funny that it's in Japanese, and all of a sudden, multi-raid. I don't know. Funny. Last up on PSP is a game that I'd actually seen before on eBay, and was not going to go that high in bidding on it, but you'll understand when I read the title. So this is Yusha no Kusei ni Namaikita or 2, and this initially released in Japan in 2008 and in North America in 2010, but the 2010 North American title is What Did I Do to Deserve This, My Lord 2, which means it's a sequel to the 2007 Japanese and 2009 English title that released in Japan physically, but in North America only digitally, as Holy Invasion of Privacy, Bad Man, What Did I Do to Deserve This? This is odd. They had to use Bad Man to avoid, I guess, not licensing is not copyright with Batman. I don't know. Those titles are so strange. Both games, this second one and the first game, are both real-time strategy games revolving around digging, but not like Minecraft digging, more like Dig Dug digging, or even like those mobile ads for like those idle games where you're just trying to make money by digging stuff up. I don't know. The gameplay sounds more like a tower defense because you are trying to put monsters in the mines to prevent heroes from attacking your demon lord. So I don't know. This is weird. Truly the funny game of all time, but just the titles are fantastic. Moving on to the last 3 games, and then one last item. We move to the Wii for one game. This is Swing Golf Pangaea, which is a Japanese Wii launch title, interestingly, and it released around the exact same time in North America as Super Swing Golf. And I thought this was part of the Everybody Golf or Hot Shots Golf, Hot Shots Tennis series. The characters look very similar, but apparently it's not. It is just a golf game with different modes. It has an anime story mode. It looks like anime on the back, like Wii anime, if you can kind of picture what I mean. Maybe I'll just kind of put it there. Maybe you can see it. I don't know. I bought it because I thought it was part of that series. Not that I'm like nostalgic for that series, but because I have a bunch of them already, and apparently it's not. But it's cool. it's a launch title in Japan. Not what I expected, but still really neat. Okay, we get to the last 2 games of the video. I could talk about these completely offhand. We'll talk about this one first because I could say a little bit more about it. Mario Kart 8 on Wii U, specifically in Japanese. I have it in English. So the Switch comes out, and the last Nintendo system I had before the Switch was the Wii. Never got a Wii U, never had a Switch prior to like 2021 when the OLED released, but somewhere during the Switch's lifetime, I got a Wii U, and I played Mario Kart 8 because I was like, oh, I like Mario Kart Wii, let me play Mario Kart 8. So everyone's playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I'm the only one playing a Wii U and Mario Kart 8, and I had a blast playing it on the Wii U with the crappy gamepad. So even though I'm not like necessarily nostalgic for this, this is probably the reason why I so badly wanted to play Mario Kart on the Switch. Now I love Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I still haven't played Mario Kart World. But this was the game that got me into really playing Nintendo games on modern systems, even though the Wii U was a little outdated at the time I was playing it, but I didn't have a Switch. And the closest thing I had to Switch and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was to play Mario Kart 8. So Mario Kart 8 holds a little place in my heart, even if I'm not nostalgic for the Wii U, but it is likely the reason why I enjoyed Mario Kart 8 Deluxe so much. And I will definitely enjoy Mario Kart World when I play it. So Mario Kart 8 in Japanese. I have it in English. This one I don't have in English anymore because I was missing this outer box, but Super Mario Maker, specifically the book bundle. If you're not familiar with Super Mario Maker, it's a 2D Mario Maker. So instead of Nintendo making a 2D Mario game, they could just say, here, have fun. Go play Mario Maker levels that other people created. I think this game had all of its custom levels beaten, all of its legal custom levels being about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. So that's a big deal. But I had this game. I sold it in English because I wasn't playing it. But now that I have this in Japanese, cool shelf piece with this awesome box, awesome, great shape book bundle. I'm really glad to get this. So that's all the games that I got. I do have one more thing to show, but I just want to say again, Chris, thank you so much. This is a lot of crap. I need to find a home for all of it. But yeah, definitely super hyped to get all this. Thank you again for working out a deal with me. And yeah, I can't wait to talk about these games more in the future. I have pictures of all of them, and I was like so excited to show people. It was awesome. Anyway, the very last thing I have is not even Japanese. It's not even a game, but it's something I had been looking for, and I was all wildly excited for this thing. And then I did like the tiniest bit of research, and I was like, oh no. But anyway, the coolest, not the coolest, the only console pickup I got would be the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu Switch. I hope this is fitting on the screen. I already have too many Switches, but the one limited edition Pokemon Switch that I was missing was this one. So I have, I got my OLED, and then I got the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl Lite, and then I got the Scarlet and Violet OLED. At some point I got the Sword and Shield Switch Lite, and then I got a Zelda Switch Lite, the gold one. But I had every Pokemon Switch up until this one, and I came across this one at TooManyGames. Got it for a pretty decent deal. It's been a little bit on the down price-wise because like the OLED's just better and the Switch 2 coming out, but I'm very happy to get this. And the reason that I'm like, no, I didn't know this. Apparently there's an exact version of this one, but Let's Go Eevee. I never had any idea. So I thought it was the last limited edition Pokemon Switch I needed. But now I need to get the Eevee one too. Crazy. Unbelievable. Crazy. But anyway, no, genuinely, I had an awesome time at TooManyGames. Yes, all my joking aside, I'm super happy to get this. I am super happy about all the Japanese games I got. I cannot wait to put these all away. So Chris, thank you again. To all my friends that I hung out with at TooManyGames, thank you so incredibly much. Genuinely, I don't know why, because I did so little down there, but I think it was just the people, as cliche as that sounds, the people I was down there with made it the best TooManyGames experience I've had. Maybe second to the first one, my first TooManyGames, but I very much look forward to going to TooManyGames every single year. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much to everyone that made it a great experience, made it a great, fantastic weekend away, and I already look forward to next year and a certain other gaming convention in October, somewhere also kind of close. So with that said, if there's anything I missed about these games, if there's anything that I got wrong about these games, please tell me. I would love to continue learning about these games as much as I've hopefully taught you something, even in my tiny, very quick amount of research. But again, thank you to everyone for Too Many Games, and yeah, I'll see you guys next week for another video. But until then, bye.